13th floor. The 13th floor.
Action. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 13th floor, where the furniture isn't always the best, but Carol's fake smile is.
Hey.
But the views are amazing. I am moderator B. Joes, and I'm joined by the guys. First up, Faison. What's happening, baby?
What's up, man? I am excited to be back. Finally, home from all the travel, the crazy.
Hey, what you doing indoors, though, dog? I thought we was going to see this wonderful weather. I mean, what happened?
We are recording this at 10 o'clock at night. There is no outdoors.
It's beautiful weather out there right now, man. That thunderstorm, I love it, man.
I live in an area where I'm covered with trees. There is literally nothing. There is darkness outside.
Everybody.
So I'm going to enjoy the reminiscence. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can see the future that's coming next week. I can't say it, but it's going to be awesome, and I'm pointing to it right now, and I can't wait to see it on Friday.
Deadpool don't come with all them many weapons, man. He got like a M16, 2 swords,
That's
crazy.
I'm just. I was like, oh yeah, that boy will pull out.
He's gonna pull out, huh?
Oh yeah.
Anyway, DJ Barry B. Fresh, what you got, man? What's happening?
And we out here, we living another week. What's popping, people?
I see Fresco down there. That immediately made me think of Bone Fresco. Y'all know the restaurant down south? Bone Fresco?
Yes, I actually have experienced Bone Fresco.
It's pretty damn amazing, Carol. Don't turn your eye up, man. What's happening, bro?
Nothing, man. I never heard of it, so I was just wondering, like, if it was good. Bone Fresco, like, what did they say? A bone broth? Is it a bone broth restaurant? What is
bone, it? Like Frenchie.
Bone.
Like Bon Appetit.
Bone. Okay,
Bone Fresco.
Not like
Yeah.
boom.
Bone.
Not
That's what I said. Bone Fresco.
No,
Yeah,
you said bone. You said bone fresco, and I'm like bone fresco. Okay.
Like bone habits. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm good, bro. What's going on?
Not much, man. Happy to be here, man. We got a lot to talk about today, man. First and foremost, I want to get into, I guess it would be a little bit of gender role, but not really. Something Carol brought to my attention, and I thought it might be a little interesting subject. Carol thought so as well. But it's a Instagram post, and you have I guess an adult man or adolescent man. I don't know.
I think it's Barack.
Let me zoom in on this thing here.
Is that Barack?
It might just be Barack. Look at that. So I wonder why they cut. Was it the screenshot that cut off Michelle's face, or was it just like the picture itself?
That's how it was when I saw it. It was just like that. Yeah.
So you got Barack down here, taking all the knives to the front, to the back, sideways, and everything. But then you have the woman, I guess supposed to be Michelle, crowning him at the same time while he's bent below him. And in the caption, if you don't crown him, pick him up and value him, who else will? Build your man up, because there are hidden battles he fights. Don't become another fight.
Powerful.
Think so?
I do. It's important.
Why so?
Because you gotta come home and be able to be at peace, take your armor off, and just be loved. You're out. Just as a man in general, no matter what race you are, you have to fight. You're always fighting. You're always ahead of things. You're always taking a blunt. You're always doing so much just because you are raised that way, because that's what's expected of you, or because you do. And you come home, you sometimes want to come home and just be loved. Like, you don't mind getting a hug and a kiss and just being able to sit back and be loved. So it is very important in my mindset to have that ability to not come home to a fight, because you're fighting all day long outside. So to come home and not have to fight and argue and scream and yell, it's too much. And I mean, side note for this process, a coworker of mine by trade of mine just passed away. He's 40 years old and passed away with a heart attack. Like, that's just stress. That kind of stress in your life isn't important. Like, you need to come home, get your crown, you should be treated like a king, treat her like a queen. Your princess is a queen, and princess at home. Like, it's just, home is an environment of love, and it should be that way. It shouldn't have to be always, defense.
Yeah, I don't think it's just about coming home to an argument or a fight, but it's coming home to, just further. You get more You didn't do this. You didn't do that. When are you going to do this? When are you going to do that? We were supposed to do this. We were supposed to do that. And there's not that time for that decompress. There's not that time for, okay, let me make sure you're good. And it's not necessarily about forcing you to talk about your day, because obviously we're men, we do things a little bit differently. But it's just that time of, all right, let me recharge, let me reset, before we get into all this other stuff that you got for me. Like I always tell people, hey, a day off from work is a day on at home. And people,
yes.
Right?
Absolutely, man. You get
true.
that honey-do list, man. That junk gets extensive sometimes on those days off.
And it's not just that honey-do list. It's so many things that, look, as a man, you're always focused on things that you should be doing, things that you want to do for your family. And when you get free time, man, it's just so much pressure of what am I going to do next? What's going to get done? What's not going to get done? And I think the more responsibility we get, the more that we tend to forget about ourselves, or are forced to forget about ourselves.
100%. I think though it's this is a relationship, point that even it's the same way for your spouse. It's not about thinking either way that it should be a battle or not have that sense of accomplishment and that you are moving towards a common goal. I actually have a set of friends who I've known them both for quite some time. And now they are splitting up it potentially, and being set in the middle and hearing both of their sides and seeing at the end of the day, it's always about communication, and that they are both speaking around the same desires that they want, but they're, at the end of the day, it's pretty much selfishness and being hard-headed as far as not being able to hear the other. And they have a common goal, but not allowing, each other, letting the little bickering, letting the little things that, just like Carol's talking about, those, if I can't come home and decompress and I'm always feeling pushed down or feeling like, yeah, you did the dishes, but you didn't wash the clothes. It's those things that create those balls that then start to grow and fester into, snowmen of hate. That's the difference. No matter what, you should be lifting up your spouse. We all know that we are not going to be perfect 100% of the time, but when you can have a better acceptance of recognizing those down moments and not applying more pressure, that's what really allows for the sustaining of relationship.
But I think you know what I think the problem is? The problem is that we let titles bring in additional pressure. And we get to a point where we can't turn the title off. They don't realize, hey, turn off this title of wife, turn off the title of husband for a minute, and just be a friend, right? Just be a friend. Because if you responded to me the way you would respond to a friend, things would probably go a lot more seamless.
That's a great point, bro.
I think that's a paramount point, because I think that is typically the greatest or the biggest piece that's missing in most relationships or most lasting relationships. People don't understand or value that friendship, because I think at times it takes you being a friend to a person to kind of help you get through some of the struggles, because that title as boyfriend or girlfriend or husband, wife, it comes with a certain level of pressure or things. It might even come with a certain level of constraints, but that friendship, they're just different things that you'll do for a friend. And if you understand the true meaning of friendship as it is, it goes a lot further.
Yeah, I think people get caught up in living their relationship for the outside world instead of living their relationship for what it is, the relationship. And that's one of the biggest strains that people don't take the opportunity to truly recognize and make a point of pushing away, is allowing the outside pressures of, oh, well, they do this, or, why isn't our relationship like that? That our relationship is our relationship. It's special and unique, and it should be that way, period, and not be judged or held against other relationships or other ways that you're trying to create a standard. I don't, the only standard in a relationship is the respect, nonviolence, and you know what I mean, mutual understanding. Like those are the standards, but trying to act like, you have to act a certain way. Oh, well, if you go out, then that means that you're doing something against the relationship. If you go hang out with your friends just because you went out till 2:00 in the morning. Nah, we was just hanging out and reminiscing on not having responsibilities, enjoying life. It was nothing against nobody. Yeah, we talked a little bit of crap about y'all, but that's because y'all make us do this. You know what I mean? That's the difference. Is it's about that ability to push out the outside and keep, moving towards that common goal of, we just ultimately want to be happy, period.
Yeah. And, let's tag Faison in because clearly he puts the most pressure on us from a spouse standpoint, right?
100%.
Do not. I do not. Well, listen, we way back in the beginning, EJ and I made a decision that we're going to treat each other the way we treat our coworkers at work. There's no yelling, arguing, screaming. You're very respectful. You do what you got to do. And that's helped us a lot because we both have such, demanding jobs that we know that it's important to come home, that we need to compress. And there are days where, I'm very, very action oriented. I'm detailed. I like to do things a certain way. And EJ can do things differently. She can let things pile up a little bit. And sometimes I had to realize that in a relationship, I can't continue to be like now. I gotta be like, you know what? I'm just gonna knock this out, do it for her, or let it pile up and I do it later on. But that's something that I had to learn. So I had to learn how to give her a crown because it's just important both ways. Like men always say, hey, she take care of us, but they get the same pressure. It's just different. Like it's just hard to be a woman in this world, no matter what rate, no matter where you are, age, it's tough. So when you come home, you expect to go on and bam, now I'm a wife. Okay, now I'm a mom. Now I'm a worker. I'm a CEO, or I'm at this, and that's a lot of pressure on them. I mean, being a dad, being a husband, being a boss is fine, but a wife, a mom, a boss, a sister, a daughter, man, I see the pressure that gets piled on her, and I just try to be there to make sure that she can just relax and take her off and go, no, I got it. You're good. Go ahead. I'll take care of this, or I'll do that for you. Like, you just go to sleep. Like, it's cool.
I think where we go wrong, fellas, is that in the beginning, you do things that are outside of your character. Like, for instance, you might not be the neatest person in the world, but in the beginning, you're going to have a date or it's going to be Netflix and chill night. So you clean up everything. Everything is spotless. Or you don't cook. Like, that's in my case. Like, I don't cook regularly. I hate cooking. But when I first started dating Wendy, I cooked a couple times, so she thought that was going to be the norm.
You're a great cook. You're an excellent cook. What are you talking about?
When he cooks, he does it.
When I cook. Right. When I cook.
He could cook for like a family of 40, but then he won't cook for like ever.
Right. I won't cook for 2. Right.
Yeah, Carol never cooked while he was in Maryland, man. That bro was always eating out. Like,
always. And it's just because, look, I don't have time, man. Like,
oh, I absolutely understand.
Again, the pressures of everything that needs to get done, cooking falls all the way to the back of the list. Because that requires me to go shopping. That requires me to season. That requires me to wash dishes. I mean, it's just so much that goes into it. But to get back to the point, I think if people were a lot more committed to being exactly who they are in the beginning of a relationship, there's certain expectations that would just never be set. And I think you would greatly reduce the number of failed relationships because you wrap yourself in this paper that's not reflective of who you actually are. Mm-hmm. And then once you get so deep in, you just feel like, oh, I got this title now, I got to stick with it. And you just get frustrated because it's not really the ideal situation that you want. So I think the more people are true to themselves in the dating phase is the better result you're going to get when you move and you actually get titles involved.
I tell people all the time, relationships are the biggest job. Your family is the biggest career move you ever make. And it's the hardest job because it's the job where it's extremely hard to quit or be fired, right? You have to do some extreme things, but yet at the same time, you compromise yourself a whole bunch just based on, you know, your heart and your love and passion for that other person. The ability to compromise and to go ahead and do the things that you look at yourself like while you're doing them, you literally can see yourself out of body experience like, fool, you were so soft. What are you doing? Why are you letting her? But there's a reason to it. And it goes twofold that, yeah, just like Carol said, the authenticity of exactly what a job. If you come into a job, oh yeah, man, I do everything. I'm amazing. I have no issues. You can just put me over here and I'm going to get it popping. And then all of a sudden they put you over there and you can't get it popping. You're going to get fired. That's just the reality of the situation. And it's the same thing in life. When you put on these false airs, and not necessarily false, there's a difference from, you know, Carol enjoys cooking. He just is not trying to cook every night. So there was nothing wrong with him showing, hey, I enjoy cooking. But maybe he took it to the extreme a little bit where he went ahead and did it on the first 3 or 4 dates, you know, that came to the house instead of one of those dates doing it. And it's those things of being able to, there's nothing wrong with stepping out of yourself in order to, you know, in a sense, kind of take things to another level, but at the same time, always be true and authentic to who you are. And so that you always display that same person that people can feel comfortable with knowing who you are over time.
Right. I should have ordered Papa John's that first night.
See, start low and build up.
And build up. Yeah.
I saw a picture that you made steak? What it was like literally a year ago today. You made that I think it was prime rib or something. It was like a double bone-in joint.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you had herbs on that bad boy. Oh yeah.
Tri-tip roast. Yeah.
Our first date, I let her know who I was. We went to go see Nine, which was with Fergie and the dance movie, the musical. She did that. I introduced her to Puss. She met Puss. We went to eat at a restaurant that was like weirdly, and I was like, listen, I cannot afford to buy you any kind of fancy bag, but I will get there at some point in time. And that was set early. And she still to this day will tell her friends, when we first dated, he took me to this weird movie, and I was like, he's kind of a weird guy. I met his cat. He said, are you allergic to cats? And he told me that he can't buy me a bag, but he bought me some bags now. He said in time he'd get it for me. So that bar was set really low.
Yo, be lucky that we even doing anything right now, because we should be sitting here with Puss.
All I hear is under promise and overperform. That's all I'm hearing right now. Hey, so I have a question. Given with since this picture seems to highlight the Obamas, do you guys feel, given the great example of Barack and Michelle, that women, specifically our Black women, understand the supportive role that they play in the relationship? And I say that by meaning, if you look at all of the great things that Barack was to accomplish and him having Michelle behind him in that supportive role, we don't know what goes on behind closed doors. I think Key and Peele did a great job of showing what Barack is really thinking and expressing when he's having to go through these things as president. But the impact of having that strong woman, I think we referenced it a couple of weeks ago when we talked about the wives of Kanye, the wife of Kanye versus the wife of Jay-Z. Do you think that there's a greater level of understanding given that great example that they had between the Obamas?
Carol's thinking right now, so I'll jump in and then he'll come something very prolific and like make me feel really small, and that's cool. I'll take that. That's his role. But I will come in and say that I think it just has to do with their background, their current background they're in, environment they're in, and how the woman will see their importance or to the man or to that man, whoever it may be. As they get older and get more independent and have different friends around them, education changes them, or the environment they're in. But if you're in the dead, I can go home right now in Philly, and if I was married, meet some random girl that would not be the same as a woman who's been educated, who's been a different environment, lived a different life, and understands the process behind how important it is to take care of a man, or the woman who's, I'm about my money, give me this, give me that, I'm on my own, I don't need you. My mom is super independent. She's very, very strong. Like, she can do things by herself. And she still to this age is learning how to be like not such a strong woman that because she was by herself. She raised me by herself, always been by herself, did what she needed to do. So now she's married, she has to be able to say, hey, I'm still strong, but I understand the importance of my husband. And she's learning that today still at her age. So the environment she's in is what's changed that.
I think it's to answer your question, Brett, I do believe that everyone has been more enlightened on what a strong relationship is, by watching them, period. Like just seeing their dynamic as husband and wife, understanding how crazy that whole situation as far as everything that went on, like the conversations had to be insane, off the scales, and to be able to have somebody to come home, diffuse, still be able to push away all the BS and not have Barack, rip out all his hair. And actually, while he does have more gray hairs, he is a more fit and, look like he's ready to do whatever kind of guy than he was before he got in the office. Like you could tell he's like war ready now. Like there's nothing you can tell him that he ain't ready for. He hasn't seen. Like, I'm ready to get it. And so I think that it as a whole has shown everyone, and allowed it to begin to resonate the impact of a strong relationship, and especially at that high profile and in a level like that. They were probably the most loving couple I've seen in the White House ever, like in my time span, that really showed what a loving couple was, as opposed to just feeling like you do right now with 45, where it's like they're there for, just because it is the convenience of their relationship for TV.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's very awkward in many moments. You watching him try to grab her hand and try to sneak a kiss and do all of this. That it's
mumbling.
Yeah, that it's whereas when you watch Barack and Michelle, it was
seamless.
You really got jealous
Natural,
because
man.
you
It's real
felt
love.
like, man, I want my relationship to be like that. And you could tell it was rocky. And you could tell like she put him in his place when he needed to be put in his place. But you could also tell that she would be docile and let him, wear the pants when he needed to wear the pants. And so go ahead.
No, I think that, yes, absolutely, they were a great example of a strong couple. However, we don't know enough of the workout program that got them to that strength. And it's because they were so high profile and in such a position of scrutiny that at that point they couldn't come out and be that real role model example of, hey, here's some of the tough things that we've been through. Because I think anything that the media would have got a hold of, the Republican Party would have got a hold of, they would have totally blown it out of proportion. And so they had to keep a lot of things, really wrapped tight. So, I mean, I would love to see if one of these books that they put out in their book deals, can we get, the real exclusive, like talk to us about a lot of the hardships you went through. Talk to us about how, she basically gave up her career.
Yeah.
In order for him to progress. Like, those are the types of things that we'd have to understand. And like, how did that even come about? What were those conversations like? How did you get to that point of agreeing this is what we're going to do? Like, that's what I think we really need to understand so that we have a really good blueprint of what it takes to get there.
I totally agree with that.
See, Brett, that's what I'm telling you. This is exactly what prolific thoughts. That's just like, cool. Yeah, your mom's great, but I get softballs. I come in with the softball and I just pitch it for him. He just knocks out the park.
That's what he's supposed to do, man. That's my man, Coach K. So on the flip side of that, when it comes to the built-in or built-up pressure or whatever we receive when we get home, would you say, and I think we, it doesn't impact us necessarily, but when you have a wife or significant other that just lays it on super thick, you know what I'm saying? Like, when you come home, there's no peace in the house anymore. But then you have us as black men that go outside of the race and start dating these other races, and they say, oh, when you get on, you get you a white girl and others. So is there something missing between us and that relationship with the black woman to keep it in house, or to keep that strong relationship going, versus one having to go outside of the other?
I guess I'm the wrong one to have this conversation, huh?
Hey, listen, I have an international relationship too. I'm mixed race. I'm dating Nigerian. That's a whole different.
Oh, so international.
Actually, Ian, I would say you're not the wrong, because I could totally see coming out of her mouth with the one thing that I think is the breakdown point of, I don't need a man. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things that has broken the quality of relationships, is that always being hung over our heads, that, look, I don't need a man.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's at a point where, look, I don't even need a man. I can go get a female.
A woman.
I can go get a woman. And yeah, there is that. And I don't even know. I think I've seen data that says it's not true, that the number of black men, successful black men, that turn to white women is very small in actuality. And we'll have to get our fact checker to look that up, and we can post that. But I think that's a fallacy. And it's just one of those things that, because there's just so much myth and just so much thing that has been pumped into our heads and kind of programmed, that we start out already in a hole.
I think so. And I mean, I would expound upon that, because it's like, you're giving all of these foreign pictures. You start out not even valuing the black woman on the same scale as an adolescent. So you go the opposite direction. I think it's a fallacy as well. I think that when it comes to who we end up dealing with or whatnot, I don't necessarily believe that there is lost value in, the black woman, but I just don't believe that we automatically go the opposite direction. I think it's all learned behavior sometimes. The way, or I guess the rise of the black woman, and even the black relationship, man, from shows like Black Love, from Will and Jada, and how they put their relationship out there, and then even the show that she has on Facebook now, I believe, with his
It's on
his
Facebook.
mother, right?
Her mom.
Red Table Conversations or something like that.
Something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you get so much more value out of those types of shows and everything. So it's not necessarily that, we run from that black woman or anything, or we devalue it. It's just, it kind of happens. And sometimes we're just programmed that way.
Well, I think it's partially, if the media, like, you see that because that's what you see in the media, or like, because a couple of basketball players or a couple of football players, have that, all of a sudden they're highlighted, and that's what's seen. Just like Carol said, I'm pretty sure the stats on, say, African-American males who make over $250,000 a year and more, like, you're not going to find some large percentage of them are married outside of their race. Like, I seriously doubt that. But I think it's also, your relationships are a product of your environment and who you have access to and who you interact with. And I believe the internet, of course, has, broadened the landscape of who you're able to come in contact with. But at the end of the day, preference is preference. You're going to fall in love with who is able to make you feel that special certain way. And I don't feel that it naturally falls on race as much as feeling. It falls on race because I'm naturally in an environment where the majority of the people I see are, and interact with, are my same race. Whereas now you have the ability to, I don't even come out of my house and I'm able to talk to, 300 people today, all different types of races.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question about this picture, and I might have been reading too far into it, but the statement "build your man up." It kind of struck me a little differently, because I kind of don't feel like it's the place of a woman to build a man. I feel like they should be built, not necessarily on their own, but I think, and I hear it in conversation all the time about, oh, you got to raise the man in the relationship, and you got to teach him how to do this and do that and things of that nature. I think we and I'm specifically talking about us on this podcast because I think we're great examples. But we have to be much better about giving that example and showing that example as we do here on the 13th floor, so that our young men grow into what they're supposed to be and how they're supposed to be into a relationship. Because I don't necessarily think that responsibility falls on a woman. And that's immediately the first thing I saw was how the woman kind of just is given that responsibility, and this is supposed to be her to create this man into what he's supposed to be. And
I don't think it's about creating him into what he's supposed to be as far as more much as it is about helping him become a better person. Because in myself, I think I'm an awesome man, great man, but I feel every day I learn something new from my lady that, I need to, enhance on myself, and not on some knick-knack, you're
some real life growth
stuff. But there are ways to enhance, and especially with we don't understand females. It's impossible to, but there's always pieces that get brought to us to enlighten us on thinking on that other side of the spectrum. I think that's more about what it is, and it's a mutual thing where there are pieces of sometimes your lady has that. Why do you laugh with your friends this way that you don't laugh that same way with me? And it's not because there's any, there is a difference, but it's still just that, it's not the same. And they have to learn that it's not like you're trying to push them away, but it's just, the bonds are different. Things are different. Stuff evolves, and that understanding, that growth, that learning continues. That it's not about building you as a person from scratch as much as it is about helping you keep on achieving and get to the next level and have that growth and evolution.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't think it was from a standpoint of building the man. It was building him back up, because when he goes out in society, there's so many things that don't want to break him down and just keep grinding him. So he comes back to that safe space, and now you have an opportunity to now reinforce to him how good he is and to come back up. Is what I think. But I think there's a deeper piece in that, Brett, and I don't want us to move on without addressing it, right? So it says, build your man up because there are hidden battles he fights. Don't become another fight. So I think what's key in that is that if this is your partner, why are there hidden battles that you're fighting, right? You should be able to share with that person so that the two of you can take it on together. And I think the current state of where we are as far as self-esteem and not being called, less than a man or being looked at as weak. That's why we don't come forth and talk about the battles that we're facing, because we're going to get hit with all types of stuff. And I think we have to get to a point in just our mental health where we are so confident and it's fine. Look, I'm sharing this with you as my partner. These are the things that are going on. Mm-hmm. And it's almost like the women have a movement, right? They've got Me Too, right? And we could easily have, me also, or I too, right?
Me as well.
Yeah,
me as well. We're going to take that one. Me as well.
Right. Me as well. Right? We could easily have that, but I don't think that we come out and openly talk about all the things that we face enough for it to be recognized. And I think we are fearful that it'll be looked at as an excuse. Oh, it's just an excuse for you not to do whatever it is, you said you were going to do.
So this is my mode of thinking. And you guys let me know if it's fair or not. Because at this point in my relationship, I don't know, like 2 steps away from marriage or whatnot, I feel like if...
Ooh, you're going to get in trouble for saying 2 steps. You should have said... You should have said like a step or so.
A step or so away from marriage.
He's the track star. 2 steps like that.
Exactly, man. It's actually 1, 2, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying? Let's go. Hey, you almost made me lose it. Damn, what was you talking about?
You were talking about the point in your relationship.
Point in a relationship. Oh, yeah. So y'all let me know if this is fair or not. Well, if you feel like you can't express these things, then is it the person? Are you with the right person? And I say that because you're doing yourself almost a disservice at this point in a relationship. I feel like it's a partnership always at the end of the day. And if I can't build with you, if I can't gain insights from you, especially in the situation that I find myself in. Is this necessarily the right person? I think it goes both ways. Like we should be able to learn and look at things for each other.
But it depends on if your lack of being able to do it is internal or if it's external. If it's just like you have your own issues with, painting your feelings and you can't express to people and they are trying to help you get past that, that's one thing, as opposed to if it's like, you go to speak to them about something or trying to figure out, whatever it is, some issue at work that are dealing with a coworker, this, that, and the third, and they are just totally oblivious. But Kim Kardashian is that's not the right person to be with.
But that's exactly what I want to get to, because it's like that internal thing, that thing that is inside of us that just stops us from having this conversation. It stops progress. It stops movement forward.
You gotta grow as each other, as a man, as a woman, and then as a couple. And if you're growing faster and you're developing yourself faster than your counterpart, your woman, your wife, whoever it may be, not your wife, because at that point you found her. But if you're growing faster than them, then it's going to be a gap. You're going to have some problems. Something's going to happen where you are moving away a different way and look at things differently. And that's when you figure out what's happening. This happens, really early in a relationship. This is not a late time thing. This boom happens early. And you start to see that divide happen. Like you may want to go to galas and do big things, and she may want to just go to like the club. You're like, I'm over that. I'm done with that lifestyle. The split happens.
That's really when the split is too, is like really when there's that point of, all right, they're trying to act like every Friday, Saturday night, we have to go to a club and go drink and go get crazy. That has to be this big thing. That's like the point. Like, do you get okay with doing the couple thing and being able to enjoy each other? Or is it always like a need of, it needs to be a group thing, or like, I just feel we need to turn up and we need to, still be young, like making that transition of understanding. There's nothing wrong with turning up, but
right.
Like we need to have some focus and learn to have those, learning to enjoy a glass of wine and not on some, I'm drinking some wine to get fucked up to go do whatever, but we're just sitting here chilling, relaxing, talking, went to a nice wine bar, cigar bar where the music there was actually just a cello player sitting in the corner, you know what I mean? And we were just vibing, you know what I mean? And it's normally that's the divide, right? When there's the adulting, that's what I heard a guy on somebody, whatever, shout to you on Instagram, doggy. But adulting starts happening, when you start getting that understanding and being like, no, you know what? Like we have the responsibility, like we got to go to Target and get toilet paper and do all of this stuff and make things happen. And whether or not you're going to hold up to that responsibility and understand that, okay, there's a bigger goal we're going towards, as opposed to feeling like we are just, man, I'm living for the weekend, baby.
Right.
Just, I'm turned up for the week. I'm just waiting till the weekend get here, baby.
Yeah. It's awesome. Made me laugh. Thank you.
Do you, moderator?
Yeah, I'm about to say, Brett about to make me have a big headache right here.
I thought Carol was going to jump in, man. That's it, man. That's all I got, bro. What's up? But the floor is open. I'm leaving it to you guys.
Before we were having a discussion on, there is a new Spike Lee movie that is coming out. Black Klansman. The Black into Klansman is 3 Ks because he's going to be the first black man to infiltrate the Ku Klux Klan.
Second.
Well, he's the first on the movie. I don't know. Either way, it's a Spike Lee joint. From talking about that, we talked about another Spike Lee joint, which was Chirac. In the Chirac conversation, we started talking about the strength of if females started to stop giving up the nookie in order to get the thugs to put the guns down, how realistic we actually think that could be, and if it could be a true movement or a true way to make a change in some of these communities.
So fans of the 13th Floor, please drop your comments below this podcast and let us know what you think. These posts that you'll see on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and such, let us know what you think. Is the power of the nookie strong enough to put the guns down in Chicago or in Florida or anywhere else where there's major gun violence and killings and things of that nature, gang violence, is the power of the Nikki strong enough to get guys to change their attitudes, change their minds?
We're actually going to post a voting poll.
Yeah.
We'll do that.
We're going to do that on
Report
Monday,
the
on the
results.
Monday after this. So this drops on Friday the 18th.
18?
So
Mhm.
everyone look for it on Monday the 21st.
Bam.
Yeah.
However, if you're looking for my thoughts on the situation, I know the what's in between their legs is powerful enough to stop the world from moving. I think
Women run the world, man.
yeah, I think it'd be very hard to get the unity needed in order to make that happen. Because one thing I think is always it's funny because it's shocking as a young man growing up. I always made the assumption that it was like guys were way more horny than females at the end of the day, and it's totally not that. And I think that's one thing that in general, people don't take into account, I guess is the best way to put it, is that there is a misconception that females do not want it just as much, if not more, than men. And so I think that, of course, is one of the strongest forces in the universe, right? Is sexual, you know what I mean? That power right there is hard to like, it's easy to succumb to. That's what I'll say.
So I like the way you're thinking, Brett. And I've never seen Chirac, so I don't, but just from listening to you, here's going to be the problem. If women were to make that stance, the more attractive women, the more, I don't know, quote unquote,
Voluptuous.
more sought after women
Yeah.
would have to be ready to support the women that don't fit into those categories, because all of a sudden those women that get attention that way, they would be so much more popular.
That's true.
And they would mess up the whole thing.
It's
point.
particular, right? Like it's not just about those ones at the top. It's that what happens when the bufferilla from down here
Right.
has now become what do they say? In the land of the blind, the man with one eye is king. So, when you got no options, all of a sudden you start tinkering up, and those sisters up here, when that disc change is placing, you have to be able to help them.
I guarantee you that would be like the newest fad. That would be like the topic of songs. All types of crazy stuff would happen if they didn't get that all in line. Again, mental health, man. I'm telling you, it is the key to the liberation of our people.
I've seen people with options go for it for less. So,
Well, people that quote unquote are taking one for the team, but the team wasn't in that game to begin with.
Like what? There was no game here though. Oh man, it was for the team though.
Right.
exactly.
I'm trying to be the wingman, but we on a helicopter. There's no wings.
We all drank Red Bulls. What do you mean?
Right.
Easy, man. So let us know what you think, man, in the comments. Hit the poll up on the Instagram, on the social media pages at 13th Floor, please. Faison, man, before we get ready to wrap this thing up, I need the Arts Corner, sir.
Got it, sir. Think big thoughts, but relish the small pleasures. You got to build it up, man. Like we talk about, say, relationships. Talk about the step of building you up. It's not going to be always, the perfect day, but coming home and getting a hug, coming home, getting a smile. Those small things are important. Those small things build up to the big house, the big foundation. So dream big, aim big, but when you get those small wins, take them, accept them for what they are. A win.
Absolutely. Fresh, before we go to you with the crypto, I got a super funny story, man.
Yeah,
so
Fresh. Hey, so while you're telling your story, think about what you're going to put the Fresh to. Fresh is kind of retired at crypto. And coming back to crypto. Yeah, man. He specializes in something else. Fresh gets bored, man.
What you specializing in this time, man?
That's why his name is Fresh.
Man, why don't you tell your story and then we'll worry about it.
So I was at work the other day, man, and predating that, father-in-law has been heavy in this carrot bars thing. It's carrot bars. It's some, I don't know if it's real or not. I listen and I take in what he's telling me about the carrot bars, but it seems like a scam. But you can't tell certain people certain things. You just kind of got to let them learn for themselves. But it's supposed to be somewhere where you pay for like ounces of gold because, the United States dollar is not on the gold standard anymore.
Yeah. So
you're paying for ounces of gold. You're supposed to get the gold in the mail or whatever. And it's like a pyramid scheme too. So you get more people up under you or whatever.
Yep.
And they just had a recent, cryptocurrency offering not too long ago.
Yep.
I don't know exactly where it went off, but it was such a big deal. Anyway, so I've been hearing about carrot bars for the last 3.5, 4 months or whatever.
Carrot bars. Now
Carrot bars international or something. Look it up.
I'm a fruit guy, so I mean, I was like,
hey, I thought he was talking about some type of health
I
bar.
thought it was some health food, tahini or something.
I know juice bars, but just carrot.
No, I apologize. Carrot with a K.
Carrot to the
So
new
like
fish
gold.
oil. Got it.
Yes, carrot bars. Carrot with a K. Look it up. You'll see. I'm at work, and one of the temps that we work with or whatnot, he comes up and he starts just randomly talking about this carrot bar stuff. And I'm like, yo, this is really something. This is somebody else that actually is into this crap. And he's all into it. They had a conference and everything else. So I just thought it was really, really interesting to find that there were at least 2 people on this planet that were into this carrot bars international. There's probably many, many more. So it might actually be something worth looking into. Plus they following the dollar, and the dollar is supposed to be collapsing any day now. So if you have anything in gold, that's where you want to be.
Listen,
hey, your father-in-law listens to the podcast, right?
He absolutely does.
Yeah.
Listen, so people,
we've had discussions about this, so this is not new information for him.
Right, but they will sell. People will buy and sell anything. It's just about what they think is going to happen for that week. There's always trends, and you're going to have those trends, and it's just the way it works. We are a buying economy. We buy, no matter what we think is going to happen. And you see where it goes. So somebody gets rich. Somebody in that thing has gotten rich off of this. And
I don't think he's that far off. I mean, I know the gold is very important to have, and I do know that the dollar is going to die one of these days. We just don't know when.
Buying the gold from?
But that's the thing. Who are you getting the gold from? And I want to see the gold.
Somebody
if I can see the gold, then I'm much more likely to get into this.
It's like there's millionaire cryptocurrency people who had it in the beginning, and now they cash it out, and people are still growing into it. It's someone always is rich early, and then people find Amway, Prime America, all these big companies. Somebody's on top.
Pyramids for
it's all the previous owners of the Cash for Gold stores.
Bam.
They have now melted down all the gold and they are redistributing it.
In crypto, yeah. Fresh, what's the fresh take this week, man? What you got?
Well, that's actually a perfect segue because I actually do in the crypto space hear a lot about the various gold exchanges, and one of them that's hot right now is called Mint Builder. Sounds like it's along the same lines as what you're discussing, where in some of the Telegram online chats that I'm in, I hear people talking about it. In one of my Discords, I hear I have a whole group where that's all that they do. But most of those multi-level marketing businesses, it's always about what you put into it. A lot of times it's not necessarily that they are a scam, but the work that you have to put into it and the people that you have to touch in order for it to be profitable is extremely hard to attain. And so what happens is you have the guys who sit at top where it's like, now that I have, my 100 underlings spread across the country and they keep on rotating these 20, 30 people in and out every month, I'm getting that 20 or 30 people's money and living life, enjoying life up here while y'all are in the rat race trying to make it happen. Into crypto though, another mellow week. You know, we went up, we touched 10K, and things were looking like they were on a trend of going to the 13K prediction that Mr. Cliff High. I know it's been a minute since I talked about him, but he's the crypto genius that I do follow. Cliff High said that it was supposed to be 13 and a half, I believe, by summer. We are knocking on summer's door, and it actually just dropped back down to about 8.5 now. As we sit on this Monday, the 14th of May. So it's been very interesting to watch. My newest venture has been what's called Miner Farm. It is a virtual miner website that allows you to pretty much create your own miner farm. Miners are what verifies the transactions for cryptocurrencies. And so you're able to pretty much create your own miner farm and you get paid in real Bitcoins. I have actively been mining and spending the Bitcoins that I have mined from Miner Farm. So it's actually been kind of cool and interesting watching my little business grow. But other than that, I mean, crypto is in the same space where we're kind of seeing really what the summer hump is going to bring, waiting again for a lot of these different technologies to really roll out and be executed and go past the beta stages and really into the alpha and final progress of the platforms that are coming out. So it's still exciting times, neutrally exciting, I guess, because there's really no new extraordinary news. However, the battlefield is still raging. There's still a lot of opportunity. I still tell people that they need to, at least understand and have a better understanding of what cryptocurrency is and what the different opportunities that it has are out there. Boom.
It sounds like it might be fizzling.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Not at all.
It's quiet.
There's two. It's
Look,
just like you just said. The dollar is about to die. So it's the
yeah, but the dollar been about to die for like years now.
But
like, it ain't been on the gold standard for forever.
The freedom that it provides in not just the Bitcoin like exchanges and things that you can do and what you can buy and how people are making money with it. It's not going nowhere because it's being utilized for everything. But then past Bitcoin, again, all these other altcoins are actually coming up with applications and uses that are relevant. And so it's not going nowhere. It's not going, but it's also not, I don't believe it's going to have the skyrocket that everybody was hoping for as far as, that all of a sudden it's going to be 100K by the end of the year. I would, to me, I'm looking more at like, by the end of the year, it will hopefully be back up to 20, 25K as opposed to it jumping as much as people had hopes of at the end of last year when we saw it go from, it literally within 3 months went from like 3 or 4K up to 20. And so that's when all the hysteria and all the hype got around it because they literally seeing people who you put in, $5,000, all of a sudden you're sitting on $40,000. You thought that everything was changing, everything, So there was, it was the Wild West. You saw a lot of people go from thinking they were about to buy their own countries to all of a sudden being snapped back to reality of, okay, I do have to stay living in my grandma's basement for a little while longer. So it's an interesting game, but like I said, it's not going nowhere. It's just going to continue to be, I don't want to say regulated because it's really not quote unquote the regulation as much as it is the growth is allowing the sustainability and the leveling of it being, this magic, jumping jack beats where there's actually real cases. It's actually becoming intelligent currency that you can use for whatever you need.
That's what I'm looking forward to most, man. They need to jump on. Everybody needs to start accepting these Bitcoins and things of the like as currency exchanges. So like you don't have to worry about this Apple Pay and Android Pay and things of the
But
like.
that's they do it right, yo. I literally just
Right
bought.
on.
I went to Costco today. I spent over $100 of Bitcoins in Costco today. I then went to Publix and I spent over $100 in Publix of Bitcoin.
See, that's what I want. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
I've got. Hold on. Oh,
Yeah, you go get that. Go get that.
That's awesome.
well,
Get the bag.
yeah. I have my
Crypto
BitPay.
bag.
It's called. If y'all go look up BitPay. BitPay is a Bitcoin credit card. So literally, I took from
So
the
you
Minor
swiping it
Farm,
at the
from the Minor Farm program. I'm on my computer. I shot the Bitcoins that I earned on my Minor Farm to my BitPay card on my app, and then I took from the app. Like you have your main wallet, and I took from my main wallet. I went ahead and put it into my card wallet, and then was able to go right to the store and swipe away. I do that weekly.
Wait. So you didn't pay with the Bitcoins actually at the register?
You pay with the credit card. What do you mean? Yeah, they're Bitcoins. What are you talking about?
He's thinking like you literally can go
Paid like
0.0002 Bitcoin.
No. I thought I heard you say that you took it from the Bitcoin account and it converted to cash on your card. I thought that's what I heard.
No, I said I put the Bitcoins on. I said that on my BitPay is like a software, I guess is a better description. Whereas in BitPay, I have my BitPay. There's two wallets. So there's like the general main wallet where my Bitcoins go in, and then I can take fractions of those Bitcoins and put them onto my card wallet, which is actually the credit card.
But
And so
it's still in Bitcoin though. It's not in like
yeah, but then once I spend it, it converts automatically as I swipe. It converts whatever that rate is at that moment.
yeah.
It converts to dollars.
Okay. Easy. There it is.
Sounds like a lot of steps.
It isn't though.
He is getting money from mining and currency. He's getting PE right now while he's sitting here and the mine's happening.
Yeah, like right now, it is
I invest in
Bitcoins are
mutual
being
funds.
mined that I will probably next week be using in a store or somewhere else 100%. Like,
And I'm here. I got mutual funds growing while I'm sleeping. He has Bitcoin working and being built while he's sleeping. At the end of the day, there's money somewhere else that's being done for you, and it all depends on how you want to get there.
Fair enough. Coach K, you want to wrap us up, man, so we can get up out of here?
Let's wrap it up. Real talk.
And that's going
That's
on.
going to make the blooper reel.
You know, Carol never really has a whole lot on there, right? It's always like us.
Which is funny.
Oh, you know what? You did have the was it Frankie Beverly? Not Frankie Beverly.
yeah, he did have
It
the
was
Frankie Beverly.
Frankie
It was
Beverly. Yeah, it was Frankie Beverly.
He did have that.
That was a good one.
Oh, and I got the hat backwards today
Yep,
too.
he about to have it again now.
About to have it.
I thought that's why he turned it back. Now I remember. Yeah, I thought that's why he turned it backwards. You didn't want it no more.
That's hilarious. But what I was really going to say is that I think the best thing out of the conversation today, and it's going to flow over into so many different areas of your life, is find out who you are and be that person. Don't try to be somebody else. Don't try to come out the box when you know you can't sustain it. Don't make Cornish hens and pineapple rice and dessert on, the first date. Actually be who you are. Do what you would normally do. And in every situation, I guarantee you, the things that are supposed to be for you, that you're supposed to involve yourself in, they will happen. They will happen with a lot more authenticity and a lot more longevity.
Absolutely. I'm a pasta first date kind of guy. It's cheap, it's simple, keep it easy. And the wine, pasta and wine. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are done here on the 13th floor. It's been great. See y'all next week. But that's it. That's all we got. 13th floor. Where the views are amazing.
The 13th floor.
You can get up here any way you want. There's only one way down.
The 13th floor.